Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. In this video, I want to keep it as short as possible. I want to talk about the trap of redemptive violence. I'm not going to give a theology seminary here. The term redemptive violence simply means the following: good violence that protects people from bad violence. I'm not going into the Babylonian myths, because those Babylonian myths are often played over and over again in movies like Superman, Spider-Man, Batman. When you look at all of those movies or shows, when you look at the concept, it's all about there are people out there who are negative-minded, and the negative-minded people are causing harm. That's true. And now the people are suffering because of the violence of those negative-minded people. And then the good guy comes along with bigger violence, but because he's the good guy, he uses the violence only in a constructive manner to deliver the people from the negative-minded folks. And then everyone is happy ever after. That's the myth. Why am I telling you it's a myth? Because history has proven over and over again that it doesn't work that way. Okay, let me give another illustration. Let's say there's a small demon over here. There isn't, but just for example's sake. And that small demon, that dwarf, is causing trouble. You go to a warlock, or maybe of himself, to get rid of the demon. What's going to happen? It's just a gang of bigger demons that comes along and tells this little demon, back off. So the small demon is gone. What has happened now? One evil spirit has been exchanged for another one. You're still dealing with evil spirits. And there comes a time that those big demons will not be there anymore. They're only there temporarily. And what's going to happen then? Again, you're going to have a small demon coming along, and now you need a big demon to get it out again. Or let me say it like this: you can repress violence by using violence. That's true. It has happened over and over again in human history. It's even happening today in society. But as we all can see, that repression of violence with violence is only effective for a while. It's short-lived. And after a while, you will have bigger escalation of that same conflict. The people that were involved in the original conflict will be dead. They'll be gone. But their descendants, the next generation, has inherited the tensions of that conflict. And now that same conflict is working out in the new generation. Then that generation passes away, and then those children are born will receive it also. You see, it goes on and on. That's what people mean with generational curses. It passes down through the bloodline. And here's the thing: people only look at it from the physical point of view. Okay, let's say that someone wanted to knock you out, and you picked up a gun and pointed at them, and physically they moved away. They never came physically near you again. Now, if you only look at the physical, you may think it's all over. That's deception. That individual is not coming close to you anymore because he thinks you have a gun. You may do something to him. So his violence, his rage is repressed, but it's still there. That individual may not be able to act out against you, but he or she, after a while, all that repression has worked out, will be triggered against someone else. Why? Because that individual has wrong thinking patterns. That individual, it's not an excuse, I'm not excusing it, but that individual probably has received maltreatment somewhere, someone close to him or her, probably from the parents or someone that ought to take care of them, and that betrayal has generated all that waste, and that individual now wants relief from all that waste. And it's that relief seeking that manifests in that violence, in that looking for a fight. I'm not condoning or approving it. I'm just pointing out what's happening. So that individual needs to be delivered from A, those wrong thinking patterns, B, from those people that keep him or her in the negative, and C, they need to renew their mind and walk by faith so that they will not be affected by the negative anymore. That is what ought to happen. Then you have solved it. Why? Because if they try to knock you out, and either you knock them out or you pick a gun and they run away, that anger in them is going to continue. And here's another thing: violent people people that are attached to wrong thinking patterns, they seldom forget their targets. There comes a point that they are frustrated again and they need a release. And if they were comfortable blaming you, then they will blame you in the future also. And violent people, that means people that hold on to wrong thinking patterns that are attached to them, they'll get worse and worse over time. So, look, I'm not going to tell you, like pagan Christianity, like those Babylon churches, that you need to walk in love with everyone, because you can't. You ought to walk in love towards everyone as an attitude, but you can't walk in love with everyone if someone else is negative minded and he or she carries demons and they don't care about the consequence of their attitude. You just want relief. Such an individual is dangerous, and you're not going to embrace them and bring yourself and those around you in danger. You're not doing that. And you're not going to deceive others by letting others think that the individual is safe while he or she is not. I'm not telling you to go out there and spread rumors about people, but you're not going to embrace evil in the name of love. That's not biblical. That doesn't make any sense at all. Alright, so you do walk in love towards everyone, but you understand some people you can't walk in love with them because they're just not safe to be around. Even if those people don't mean you harm, they're still in a negative. And that negative can be triggered anytime, and if you are around, you're the one that's the target, and you're the one that will face the danger. That's how some people ended up dead. They were married to someone that after a while they realized that individual became worse. They needed to leave, but they wanted to fight for the marriage, and both agreed to work on stuff, but that other individual was not delivered. So one day that individual was triggered and the demons could act out freely to that individual, and the spouse was dead. Or it can be that there's just this individual around in the neighborhood and people didn't manage the individual well. I'm not talking about child, also when they're grown-ups, and now that individual carries all that negativity with it because people are now, people are now scapegoating the individuals. Now that individual cannot function well because he or she is on a psych attack all the time. You know, demons are taking all that waste energy and stitching it to the target. The target's not aware of this, and now demons can use that target to attack people. And that's how often you hear that someone lost their mind and stabbed people, or ended at school and began to shoot people just like that. And we think, how can this happen? Are people born evil? What's going on with this? It is the collective witchcraft of people's dissatisfaction that manifests this way. So that individual that did the horrible crime, you can put them in jail. I'm not saying you shouldn't, but don't think just because you put them in jail or you execute them that it's over. The root needs to be dealt with. And that's why I'm telling you, redemptive violence, good violence does not exist. There is force. If there are police officers coming because someone has been kidnapped, someone's taken hostage, they ought to use force in order to deliver the one that is taken hostage. Okay, that's force. Or if you are walking down the streets and someone tries to kidnap your child, you can use force on the individual so that he or she will release your kid. But after your kid is safe, you move on. You're not going to act out in rage, paying people back and all of that. No. There's a difference between force and violence, and most people don't even understand that. Prayer is powerful, but believers never ought to be violent in their intention. For example, you should send back arrows of the enemy's camp. You should. Not because you want to do things to those people because, so that they will learn not to mess with you. No, that's violence. You turn the arrows back so that people know there are consequences. You can't just operate in a negative like that. You get what I'm saying here? Redemptive violence does not work. And just look around you. Look in the ghetto. Look at a place like Syria. I know the shadow government is involved in stirring up conflict and all of that, but the shadow government uses the tensions that people are carrying to control them. So it is important for people to seek deliverance. That's why you walk by faith, because when you walk by faith, you can reach greater things than if you walk in the flesh. That means walk after self-effort. But okay, I'm gonna close this video now. For you, agree with Christ and be at peace.